So today we're going to be talking about the 2016 presidential election if all of Gary Johnson's voters, which is typically more conservative type, libertarian type voter, goes to Donald Trump and he wins and carries all of their voters, and if Hillary Clinton carries all of Jill Stein's voters. So a lot of people don't care about this topic. So if you don't care, please don't comment that you don't care, because I understand that. This video is for the people that do care and that love to see speculation. So I understand that this topic is old. 2016 happened. A lot of people want to forget it. A lot of people want to remember it. But when it comes down to it, a lot of people don't like me messing with the results or things that happen because they want me to focus on future elections. But just keep in mind, this was heavily suggested. I saw a comment with it like around 50 likes about it. So that's something that should be pretty interesting for a couple viewers. But again, if you're not here for this type of content, please don't comment that down below, because again, I understand that a lot of you don't want to see it. Next time, you don't have to click on the video. This is just here for people that do want to see it. And I understand you can critique me. Perfectly fine about that. But when it comes down to content, if you personally do not care about it, there always is someone that would care about it. So enough talking about that. We'll get right into the video. So we do have a number of states that stay solidly in the Trump column. I just did a video based off the approval ratings of the president in a number of these races. So that's why it was just filled on leaning, likely, and toss-up and independent. But now it's just safe and toss-up states only. And we have our electoral map. So there are, again, a number of states that probably aren't going to flip, and we're not going to do these. We're actually going to do these in a particular order, unlike the last video. But Alaska obviously would go red. Utah goes red. These are all states that Donald Trump won by over 50% mainly, or these would become safe states if you add Gary Johnson's voters. Montana, Wyoming, Idaho. I mean, these states obviously the same. North Dakota, pretty much up across the country right here. South Dakota, Nebraska. Let's see if I can actually get it here. The state of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. So these states all of a sudden become Republican states. Obviously, Texas got a little bit closer in 2016, and also Nebraska's 2nd district would be safe Republican. Not really safe Republican, but still go to the Republican column because we're not doing it by shaded regions. And Texas did get a little bit closer in 2016 than most people did expect, but still, that state remains in the Republican column. Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, pretty much Iowa actually becomes a safe state if you add the Gary Johnson margin. Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky. I did those out of order, but still, regardless, these states are Republican states, so keep that in mind. West Virginia, Indiana, and Ohio. Ohio is a pretty interesting one, becomes pretty conservative. And Ohio was one of the states, like Iowa, that flipped from the Obama column by a considerable margin. I believe Trump won in Ohio by 8% compared to Obama, I believe, by 3% in 2012. So that is very interesting, to say the least. Now we're going to go over to the states that would still go to Hillary Clinton, regardless of adding votes to either political party or either candidate. All those states on the West Coast, we go over to Illinois. My home state of Maryland still goes blue. Delaware as well. And that puts Clinton at 100. Actually, we haven't filled in Clinton, so we'll fill in Clinton and we'll fill in Trump. 188 for Trump, 111 for Hillary Clinton. But we're not just done yet. We go over to New Jersey, then to Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New York obviously would still go to Hillary Clinton. Vermont, Massachusetts, the District of Columbia, and Maine's 1st district would remain in the column for the Democrats. So now we have finished all these safe states, pretty much safe states, or the states that would still go for either candidate pretty solidly, to say the least. And now we're going to start off with the states, the swing states that would go to the Democratic Party. Actually, we'll start off with the swing states that go to the Republican Party because there's a lot more of them. We go over to Arizona. That one still goes to the Republicans for obvious reasons. That one went for the Republicans back in 2016. Another state that went for the Republicans is the state of Georgia, typically a conservative state, but got close because of the president. North Carolina, another one of those lean red states, turns swing states. That puts Trump at 230 electoral votes. This is a big one. The state of Florida still goes to Donald Trump based off these results. And now we have 259 electoral votes for Donald Trump and 183 for Hillary Clinton. So we'll start off and just fill this state in. Virginia, not start off, but we'll, start off on the Democratic side. Virginia still goes to Hillary Clinton. If you add Jill Stein's margin and you add Gary Johnson's margin to Donald Trump, she would still win the state of Virginia because she did win it by 49.9%. And Jill Stein, I believe, got 0.76% or 0.73% of the vote in the state of Virginia, according to Politico. And I also use some Wikipedia numbers because usually a lot of teachers say Wikipedia is inaccurate, but when it comes down to it, to those protected pages, typically they aren't too inaccurate, especially since you're not going to catch most of these pages when someone edits it for about 30 seconds until a bot reverses it. But again, we're looking at this map. Clinton still at her downfall again in this election. Another state that flips to the Republican side is the state of New Hampshire. Hillary Clinton won here, I believe, by 2,000 votes in 2016. That puts Trump even closer. Maine at large in that second district would go to Trump. So this puts him even closer, again, to 266 electoral votes. Now, where does he get the rest of these votes to put him over the top? Well, New Mexico is still going blue. Hillary Clinton would still carry the state of New Mexico, and that finishes off all of our Democratic states, and that tells you what's happening with the rest of these electoral votes. Colorado flips to Donald Trump if you add the Gary Johnson margin. Nevada as well goes to Donald Trump. So New Mexico was pretty interesting. If you add the Clinton margin from the voters in the state of New Mexico. I'm completely messing up on that. But you add the Gary Johnson voters. Gary Johnson got around 9% of the vote here. Donald Trump got around 40% of the vote here. You add the votes from Jill Stein to Hillary Clinton. She carries the state of New Mexico by a narrow margin, but Trump definitely makes it close. And that puts him at 281 electoral votes and Clinton at 201. So Trump has already been elected president, but the rest of these 4 states goes to Donald Trump. Minnesota was not really that much of a shocker, but Minnesota hasn't gone red since 1972. So keep that in mind. That's one of the first states that's been flipping, and that has been the most Democratic state based off recent election history in the United States itself. So we have 201 electoral votes for Hillary Clinton, same as before, but 337 for Donald Trump. So if you definitely did take away third-party voters, the argument that Hillary Clinton would win automatically, I understand that maybe half of Gary Johnson's voters could have gone to Hillary. That's another type of video for another day because I'm not doing that one today. But still, we never really know how this would turn out, but keep in mind Gary Johnson's voters are pretty much more conservative than Hillary Clinton would be, or just a little bit more conservative than the traditional new type of Democratic Party that we're seeing today with Barack Obama and a number of other top Democratic officials. So you could probably expect that a number of them either wouldn't vote or come out for Trump, and the result would likely be around the same. The Clinton presidency probably could have happened if Jill Stein voters weren't there and they voted for Hillary Clinton, and they weren't voting for Jill Stein, but those Gary Johnson voters definitely would make a positive impact for both candidates, but more so Trump. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.